Everyone, welcome back. This month, we're going to be talking about the June 2023 release notes. Again, I'm Edgar Quadra, solution consultant here at Star Telecom. On the video today, we have again Randall and Alexander. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to go through this today.
Always. Hi, everybody.
Excellent.
Sure.
And before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that when you go to our Star Telecom YouTube channel, we've made some improvements based on a lot of the comments that we've had for our videos. One of them is we've created these new playlists for each type of our videos, so use cases, tutorials, and our unboxing playlist. And under the descriptions going forward for all of our new videos here, we've added the captions. So I know our marketing guru has painstakingly added by hand each chapter. So each chapter represents one of the features for the week, and with timestamps. So you don't have to listen to the whole video. You can jump to a particular section of the video, either from the description or on the right hand side using the chapters view right there. Okay, and you can just open up the timeline, look at that chapter, click on it, and now we'll open up the chapters list on the right hand side, just to help you easy navigate our sometimes hour-long plus video reviews. Okay, all right, so let's get into it. All right, let's open up June 7th week. And what do we got here? Okay, support for the MDM browser authentication for the Collaborate iOS app now. So same as last month where browser authentication support for the Communicate app for iOS. Now we can go ahead here for mobile device management for the Collaborate app as well. Okay, next one here is under the contact center features. And I'm going to wrap both these kind of together in one. So first off is the workforce management time off request user interface improvements. So Genesys over the past year now has made improvements to the visuals and the alignment of a more unified UI experience. And so Genesys has brought that into the management time off request view. Okay. I don't know, Alexander, anything you want to add to that? I'm going to bring that up here on my screen in a moment.
Sure. So what has been changed so far? I mean, we're talking about details, right? It's not a big change, not at least like the next one. But still, what we're going to see is much more consistency with the other pieces of WFM. And well, but lighter navigation and filtering process, just as with anything so far that has been done on WFM front. Bless you.
Excuse me.
So yeah, basically, well, in the time off requests in here, the first change is going to the page index. Then you also get, I mean, it's just a visual thing, but still kind of looks nicer. Then we also get in the upper right corner where it says total 5, pending 5, approved, denied, cancelled. Now each one of these is actually clickable, and then that actually filters out the data on screen, which is a really cool feature. Now there are not going to be any changes right now, but still that's kind of a big improvement. Also, if you access any of these, well, how this view and how this window looks like has changed so far. So it's much easier to navigate, and it's it has a much cleaner look, right? So a small change, but still really helpful on the long run.
Thank you. Next one here is the playback screen recordings, playback performance. So basically, sometimes the screen recordings would take a little bit longer to load. So Genesys has made some improvements on the back end to allow that screen recording to load up quicker in the interactions view. Okay, jumping back into workforce management, and this is quite a biggie. Before I spend a little bit of time here, is HR integration. Integration to HR systems. So I'm just going to open up this development article here. And so by default, Genesys has created this blueprint based around the Bamboo HR system. And it's just kind of a workflow here where it can now go back and forth. So any time off request that we just talked about can flow between HR systems, and so forth. So Genesys now supports out of the box Bamboo HR system, but also any other third-party HR systems that have RESTful API support via JSON posts. So Alexander, talk to us.
Yep.
How does this impact going forward?
So obviously there is one feature that has been missing and so far, and that's kind of the accurate time of days for any agent. Now with this integration, it's pretty much paving the way to not only get that feature because that's already available with the integration, but I do kind of get the feeling that it's really paving the way, just to kind of include HR much more in the WFM process, because those two are tied definitely. Maybe not in each company, but the workforce management and human resources, if you think about it, really is almost one and the same, right? I mean, every company has two separate divisions, but they're really one kind of business entity, I would say, in a sense. So just getting the possibility to integrate these and to actually read how many accurate time of days an agent has, just helps make sure that they don't go 5 days additionally to vacations, or in the other extreme, that they don't actually use their vacation days in a year and they just might lose them. In some European countries, if you don't use your vacation days from last year up until June or July next year, you actually lose them, and the company doesn't even need to pay that. So I can get see both of those kind of possible use cases. And as for the documentation page that you're on, by scrolling down, there is a pretty solid description of what needs to be done and in what order in order to actually create this integration. If you're not using Blue HR, if you're using maybe a CIDR IP or any other HR system out there. Basically, in a nutshell, it's being done via Architect, so you don't need to build a custom kind of connector in Python or Java or whatever. You can actually do it by Architect, which is kind of cool. But you can obviously also use any programming language in order to create a very custom-built integration between these two.
Yeah, excellent. Perfect. And we can thank Yuri the Yeti from Genesys on this one. Great. Okay. Next one here is we can modify the default whisper tone that the agent receives. So if you enable whisper at the queue settings, you can modify what that tone can be. So it's no longer just like a beep, but it could be something else. So if I just quickly jump through a couple pages in here, you can see here for the whisper, we can upload an audio, record something, text, and so forth. So everything, if you're used to editing prompts for your IVR, same process, same type of features have been opened now for the whisper prompt that the agent hears in their into their headset. Okay. Real-time alerting for waiting interactions and improved alerting. So for those of us that have used alerts in the past, let me just quickly show you here. Switch to classic view first. This is the classic view for alerts. So under the rules, you go ahead and create a rule to set that alert up. But now Genesys has changed that more in line to work from within the performance view. So under performance and workbench, there's now a new alerts rule view. And it looks fairly similar, but it does give us a bit more additional features. So again, the columns that are available in, from any performance views are there. But if I want to go ahead and add a new alert, I can go ahead and do the add. And I've created one right now for this. So this is now how you'd go ahead and create a new alerts view. So is it or and for this particular definition? What is it that you want to alert on? So when I go and create a new one, it can tell you, do you want to alert on a metric or do you want to alert on an agent and their particular statuses in here? So if I want to alert on a metric here and I want to do waiting, so the waiting feature for this particular queue is unique in that, so it'll actually send you real-time alerts if the number of waiting interactions for that queue exceeds the threshold that you set. In this case, I set 6. And then you can add additional conditions in there and then send out SMSs or emails accordingly. What's also new here is under the inbox, there is an alerts inbox in here, which instead of going to that button, or sorry, to that bell icon on the right-hand side here, it's now unified under the inbox section in here.
I'm really hoping that this will kind of drive kind of a more mass adoption of this tool, because I don't know, I think anybody using this, and it's a super useful feature. Definitely.
Yeah, especially the real-time, I think, alerting, waiting would be handy, right? So you can use that to start action, right? So one of the examples here is if if you have to put more members on the queue, you can go ahead and do that very quickly here. Introducing improved alerting, so we just talked about that. These are some new integrations here. Client information in the embedded clients window. So embedded clients, so those of you that may not be familiar, is the ability to embed the Genesys interface in, let's say, Salesforce or other CRMs. In my case here, the embedded client that I have an example here is a Chrome widget. So this is what the Chrome environment looks like. But in this particular view now, more information about the caller can be displayed inside this embedded window. For example, is I'm able to add more information based on my customer journey, and so forth and so forth. So vastly improvement. This is geared more towards, again, clients that are using like a CRM and they're embedding Genesys in that CRM environment. Okay. Introducing Instagram direct messages for third-party messaging integration. So again, if you social media heavy shop and you use Instagram direct messages as part of your business flow, Genesys is now supporting that as an ACD media channel. So you have to go through the whole Facebook business page setup and verification. But once that's done now, you can now support Instagram direct messages as a normal interaction within Genesys Cloud and get the same metrics, powerful metrics that you get. Now you can get those metrics for Instagram direct messages. Okay. All right, and now here's a deprecation for a particular API, and this is, I think I talked about this last month, but the customer service APIs has been replaced now with the live view in the journey. Okay, and that ends June 7th releases. Let's jump over and talk about now the June 14th week of features. Okay, first one is under the communicate, the BYOC time TLS certificate renewal. So this is TLS in general is an encryption method, a SIP encryption method, and Genesys is always on top of it, and they just renewed that certificate for that encryption method, TLS encryption. So nothing need to be done. This is all for the BYOC customers. Okay, the next feature here is drill down, a drill down or hyperlink from the dashboard view, from the dashboards to a performance view. So what does that really mean? So if I go and open up one of my dashboards in here, this was previously available, so you could click on any of your agents, and you see the little line there, it means it's a hyperlink. I could click on that, and it would jump to that performance view for that particular agent. Well, now that same feature is available for the queues. So these queues, and this is for a service level widget for my billing queue, I can click on that and I can jump in and get much more detailed information or drill down for that particular queue. So incredibly powerful tool and feature for the dashboard feature in Genesys Cloud. Anything you want to add to that, Alexander?
No, yeah, I just kind of get the feeling that well, things have slowed down partially on the kind of operational analytics front, if that makes sense. But with this feature, this will actually give even the queue watchers or the real-time monitoring specialists the possibility to actually do their investigations much faster, just so that they don't need to have two monitors or open up multiple tabs, so on and so forth. I just think that it's going to streamline the process much more. It's a small one, but still huge for those that need it.
Yep. All right, the next one here, and it's a theme it looks for June, is obviously improving the alerting engine and the alerting interface. And I think the two things that they've enabled now is more real-time alerts. I know that was a heavily requested feature during some of my pre-sales activities. So now I talked about real-time alerting in the previous week for calls waiting. Well, now there's a new real-time alert for agents after call work time. So if agents are spending more time in after call work time, and you can set that threshold here, you can get a real-time alert for that. So again, great for managing the contact center. Maybe after call work is a problem area that you want to improve upon in the call center. Well, let's put an alert on that. And again, so just for those that skipped this part of the video, so under when you create a new view, a new alert, and this is the new environment to create that alert. I'm going to go back in here. So it's a performance view. I'm going to click on add, and I'm going to do after call work real time. I'm going to set it to conversation metric. And it already sets to the user. So you can go ahead and I'm going to set user, myself, voice, after call work, total after call work, and I'm going to set my threshold to number of seconds in here. So Genesys previously it had to wait for that interaction to end to trigger these alerts. Well, now Genesys has enabled it for real-time alerts. So as that call or that interaction is active and the after call work threshold is met, then it's going to trigger and send those notifications to either SMS or email. So again, we're all very happy to see that the alerting engine has been improved upon to make it much more real-time, a much more real-time alerting engine. Okay. Improved dashboard create and edit options. So I think some of you may have noticed in some of our previous videos me going through the dashboards, and you might have seen a new interface. Well, here's the final official release, because I know it was in beta for quite a bit. So under the performance views, go to dashboards, and now it looks very different, right? So you get a full list of your dashboards in here. But if you click on new dashboard, it's going to give it a title, new dashboard. And I'm going to go and edit and add a new widget. Genesys now has, it's a much more, I think, intuitive and more wizard type. I haven't used that word in a long time, but if you remember installing applications in the past, a wizard kind of guides you through the installation. Well, now this wizard or this workflow helps you guide through and add filters, or helps you guide through and creating those widgets, and makes it much more intuitive. So I'm just going to add a new widget here for users, and I want all my, I can either include this, and I'm going to add Alexander, I'm going to add Randall there, and okay, and then what can I do with it? So I'm going to do answer, and notice as you start selecting some of the metrics, Genesys will modify what you see on screen that makes more sense, right? So if I'm going to do percentage basis, it's going to start either removing some features or removing some choices based on what makes sense or what the system's capable of. So it's a much more guided experience when you start creating your dashboards, which I think it was always good, the previous version, but this just takes it up to the next level from a usability standpoint. Show or hide top viewed articles in the support center. So the support center is this area within, let's say, the knowledge base workbench where you're able to add articles and become much more of a self-serve feature within the Genesys environment. So if you put up a chat widget on your website, you can have the chat widget look up articles and customers can search for articles, and it's called the support center within Genesys Cloud. Well, just like the optimizer knowledge base articles, Genesys has that also for the support center. So if I'm going to quickly show you that in here, go and search for my knowledge. Workbench. Articles, and I go to optimizer here. If I have one of my knowledge base articles that link to service center, my top articles will appear on here for my support center. So again, if you are using support center, incredible tool to go ahead and use and to optimize the articles for your support center that you're using. The next feature here is, I think, a huge improvement under the Dialog engine bot flows. Previously, you would have to create a single bot flow for each individual language that you're supporting. Well, now a new feature enables you to create one bot that supports multiple languages. So depending on how you create your what's called the slot types and utterances in the bot flow, those slot types and utterances can support multiple languages at one particular time instead of having to create multiple flows for different languages. So if you are supporting multiple languages in your client base through the bot, so a web bot, this is definitely a feature to get your admins on board to look into it and how they can go ahead and streamline and improve the processes, basically lowering the development time of a bot flow when it comes to multiple languages. Okay. And some of you have probably already seen it based on my video, our video, sorry. I'm not the only star of the show here. But Genesys has improved the look and feel of the resource center. So this is the new resource center, making it much more streamlined and organized to view certain features. I think one of the key things that I like here is features coming soon, right? So next releases kind of get a head start on what some of the new features will be coming up. So this is a sneak preview of the July 5th releases. So that's really nice. And just the landing page and the searching, I think I've noticed the searching to be much more responsive and snappy. So great improvement when it comes to the releases the release notes and the resource center for Genesys Cloud.
Yeah, I really like it. It's really sleek. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So Telephony Extensions now support divisions. So now you can limit which extensions can be called between divisions. So again, always an improvement. And for those of you that did not know divisions is a way to silo sections of your main Genesys org into its own individual business units. So you have HR, you have billing, you have the contact center. So each one of those can be their own divisions, and you can use now to limit, let's say, extension calling between divisions if you do choose so. Okay. So a couple of announcements here. So you've seen this theme now. Genesys will officially deprecate or remove the legacy alerting engine. as of September, near the end of September 2023, later this year. And you can see starting now in June, Genesys has started introducing the new engine, the new alerting engine, the new alerting GUID. So come September, that's going to be gone, and you'll be transitioned to the new alerting UI and engine. Okay. Last one here is a little small one, but if you do, so for external contact directory pages, there is a logo that you can add. So it looks like Genesys Cloud is removing the placeholder logo for your external contacts company entry. And that is the June 14th week release notes. Okay, now for June 21 week, under the contact center section here, first one, I think it's gone under the radar what Genesys can do now with messaging, but authenticated messenger has been enabled for the mobile SDK. There's a lot of developer jargon, but basically, first off is, if you didn't know, you can embed the Genesys messenger directly inside your mobile app. So let's say my banking app, and I can have a little messenger widget directly inside my banking app that connects to a Genesys agent. So if I have some troubles, on my bank and I want to talk to a banking agent right away, I can click on a link or the icon inside the mobile app, and that will connect me to a Genesys agent. What this feature allows is authenticated messenger. So when I do click on that, I can pass through the banking authentication through the mobile app, and I can display that at the agent script level to say, okay, they're authenticated because they've logged in, and the authentication can be their biometric, their finger, saving the agent maybe a couple of steps of having to authenticate that person, maybe ask them a couple of questions through the chat or whatnot. So it's incredibly powerful from an average handle time, lowering that average handle time for chat. But I think it's a great feature as more customers adopt different digital channels for interacting with agents like Genesys, like Messenger, but more specifically mobile messaging. Okay. Next one here is auto answer for digital interactions on queues. So when you do engage a Genesys agent through chat or SMS, they can be automatically answered. When they open up the chat window, for example, here, Genesys will automatically answer them and give them a prompt or the next action. And that could be, sorry, wow, I'm way off there. Auto answer for digital interaction. So when a digital interaction gets presented to the agent, just like we do with voice, where we can set auto answer, you auto answer that voice interaction, those digital answers can now be automatically answered as well. So if I have a web messaging, that interaction gets presented to me as an agent, it can be configured so the agent, that interaction gets automatically answered by the agent. Okay. Next one here is a deprecation and announcement section here. So there's a permission change for the LiveNow permissions. So under, again, if you use the predictive engagement feature in Genesys Cloud here, there's a new permission change for that. So Genesys has made that announcement here, and our IP ranges for Genesys Cloud Media Services have been expanded upon. So if that does affect you, we can go ahead and look at what this change will take into place on November 1st. So a couple of new areas. So in the AU, Osaka, Zurich, and Singapore regions, so there's now new IP ranges in there to take to make note of, that you should expand your pool ranges on your firewall settings, mostly for these new regions in here as they start opening up in Genesys Cloud. Okay, and so that ends the June 21st week. All right, let's move on now to the June 28th releases. So a small one, so only two. So for under the contact center section, call recording and quality management support for Genesys Cloud EX. So EX license is a digital only license where messaging is enabled. But basically just the digital channels that Genesys supports. It's just a license specifically for that. Well, now call recording quality management is now enabled for that CX license. Lastly, here is there's a digital agent workspace only. So it's a workspace that is more geared towards digital interactions, and under the desktop install of Genesys Cloud, that workspace is no longer be supported at the end of this year. So if you are a digital workspace shop that you're using the digital workspace and you use the desktop, you're gonna have to navigate over. You have to start implementing change management to using the web interface for the agent digital workspace. I wish I had a demo to show everyone for that. It's just a very, let's see here. So here it is. This is the digital workspace here.
Looking nice.
So it's geared more towards the digital environment here, but this interface will no longer be supported on the desktop version, only the web version. Okay. All right, guys. So that ends the June releases. Comments and thoughts on this month on the releases?
I can see that vacation season is coming. The last 2 weeks were kind of light on features,
yeah, very light. You're right.
But overall, I think that after the supremely strong May, it's okay to have a slightly lighter June, I would say, in terms of features. So, but yeah, all in all, I think that this month has been much more focused on kind of essentials and on all those details that are left missing with time whenever something is being developed. Randall, your thoughts?
I would say the same. I mean, remember that there's a lot going on at Genesys right now. We just got back from experience, so and vacations are starting, but we did see a lot of improvements. However, there are a lot of nice things coming out in email, which I think a lot of customers have been asking for a long time. Again, going back to wanting some features and functionality that they're used to seeing in business email clients, moving over into managing emails, interaction emails in Genesys Cloud.
Right. Yeah. My final thoughts there for June is the HR integration. That's huge, and the alerting, so a new alerting engine. So look into that if that's affecting you. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up for June. Again, this is Edgar Quadra. I got Randall and Alexander for this month. Thanks you guys, and thanks for watching. Remember to please like and subscribe our videos. Looking forward to next month. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Cheers. See ya.